going on? It's Fizz bringing it to you like I do, straight from my heart. That's what I do. Double negative. I don't know if that's what it is. Anyways, it's Detour, the new map, Ground War Domination 9v9. I haven't got to that yet on my main channel, but that's not what I want to talk about. I was on Twitter, doodly daddling, and looking around. It was like 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning, so on and so forth. And there was this esports nation on there, and they had some special. It's just this thing where a bunch of pro players go and they talk about whatever they talk about, and I just was like, all right, let me go see. Because listen, if you're a Call of Duty fan, it doesn't matter what it is. If the developer is going to talk about the game, the president of Treyarch, you listen to everything. If you're a true fan like I am, it doesn't matter what it is. You might have opinions about things, and some people may not agree with them. Which, if you're a true fan of the game, and you see much more potential than what it is, you go and listen to everything. So I went over there, and I'm listening to this conversation. It started off like, this other team, fell apart because of this one guy, too quick or whatever. He fucking wasn't pulling his weight, and so they brought in this guy named Apox, and apparently he's like a Hex type of guy. It's kind of runs the same parallel as maybe like 2006, where YouTube started monetizing videos, and Machinima came along and was paying everybody all this money. So when you got the social stratosphere and the how advertisements and how everything is monetized and how people make money, things change in life. We got the social stratosphere, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, all this stuff is funneled down to different ways to generate income for people, and it creates new niches for everybody. So in 2006, Machinima, picked up all these partners, and they paid them money, and they basically promoted the game like Call of Duty. So and now we're having this shift, and the shift is, to me, when I look at it, I don't really understand it. Because the reason why I don't understand it, I think the social aspect of this game is 10 times stronger than MLG will ever be. And it's funny because I'm going to go to I'm going to explain to the reason why I think that is. So, going back to this esports nation podcast / Twitch video, Skype call, this Apox character comes on, and he's kind of like the same level as this Hex guy. Hex runs the Optic Nation, which I was there in the beginning when Hex only had like 10,000 subscribers, and I was doing like a bunch of views on Modern Warfare 2, and he sent me this thing. It was like, do my promo, blah blah blah, and he went on to Machinima. And, I got on to Machinima through Anthony Shorwartz. And that whole thing, that whole persona was created, through monetizing videos, through YouTube and Machinima. That was then. So here comes along these guys. They have this different idea where instead of doing it through YouTube videos, they want to do it more like putting players on a pedestal and promoting them. And, basically like a WWE or WWF. Eventually, that's what it'll get to. I mean, as it starts out right now, it's just like any other sport where it's not really sport, but they're trying to follow the guidelines of sport. Where now MLG comes along, and you got like these promoters like Hex and Apox. And so I was listening to these guys. Apox is one of the promoters, and he was discussing how their philosophy is to grab all the best players and then promote from that aspect. My take and my opinion was that we're gonna get the best players, they're gonna beat your teams, and we're gonna steal your whatever, your popularity from you. If a team beats another team and they constantly beat you, then if you have the best team, then that popularity is going to grow. You don't need the name. So if you go out and get the best players, that's his philosophy. Whereas Hex's philosophy is like promoting the name, and we're going to go from, Twitch and blah, blah, blah. We're just going to do it that way with all the aspects of everything else around it. So they have these two different philosophies going into this new social stratosphere of e-gaming for Call of Duty. I mean, it's very narrow. There's very small margins for money, and it's just a very narrow highway. And these two guys are battling out, and I'm listening to it on Esports Nation or whatever it is, and I'm saying to myself, these guys are kicking themselves in the head, and then over peanuts. Because I mean, obviously, I understand you got the social. You have the social aspect of this game. If you listen to Heisberg, the CEO of publishing for Activision, the reason they invented Elite so people can communicate and get together and be more social with the game. The game was moving more towards a social game. Whereas David Vonderhaar, who is specifically trying to push this into an esports genre, I think that's already passed. It should have been around in Modern Warfare 2. I think the social aspect of this game is much bigger. And I think somebody that was in the Esports Nation podcast brought up the point that through, I think it was Apox, said that, ticket receipts through the front gates of MLG Anaheim netted them between $10,000 and $15,000. That's, I mean, total, whatever. So you figure that's just, now think about this. When he said that to me, I'm thinking to myself, why would Apox and Hex kick themselves in the nuts over peanut ass players? You're going to be, why would you do that? Try to create this brand around these guys and get all these, people to come in to sponsor them when the money is in the tickets, is in the front door. The bigger the event, the more people you can get to come and set up certain venues, the more money you're going to make. It's not about the pro players. I mean, to me, honestly, Hex and Apox are focusing on the wrong thing. It would be a lot bigger just based on the fact that they said they made $10,000, $15,000 profit on the front door after paying these guys. After paying these guys, I would have did it a lot different. It's already been proven that we did a social event with Elkie David, and we had no money. We did 100,000 views over the weekend. And if we had a social event over 3 days, a la the Call of Duty XP, shit, you could bring in concerts, groups, and you could showcase the pro teams. They wouldn't even have to play anybody. You would get a chance where these guys would just sit down. You'd pay them. They would get paid more to showcase over the weekend, to just play randoms at the social event that everybody pays to go to. It's a big Call of Duty social event. And you can stuff the pro players in there. They're a small portion of the community, and these guys are fighting over peanuts. And then the people that are the slaves are these kids killing themselves to want to be pro, to be branded like a walking billboard, like a fucking NASCAR. You could just fuck that, bypass all these guys, and do a huge social event in Call of Duty. You could bypass MLG and everybody. And you could sponsor and get sponsors and have people pay the tickets and do the venues, and then you can contract pro teams as, play these guys 24/7 and see if you can beat them. You see what I'm saying? They just don't. This is what I don't get. This esports shit is already dead. They should have did that in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. But those are just my opinions. Anyways, get the fuck out of here.